Here, the rivers flow not with water, but with liquid methane. The sky is not blue, but orange, and underfoot, the ice is stronger than steel. Yes, I'm talking about Titan, Saturn's moon. It's larger than Mercury, but colder than Antarctica. There are also seas, rains, and even an underground ocean here. And perhaps, it is here that humanity will build its first cities beyond Earth. Are you ready to find out why scientists are seriously considering Titan as a new home for humans? Then, make yourself comfortable. We are starting. But why do we even need a new home? But first, let's determine why humanity would even consider traveling 1 billion kilometers to live on an icy chunk where even the air is made of explosive gas. Is it that there are no good resort places left on Earth? First of all, imagine that Earth is your old but beloved car. Yes, it still runs, but one day, the engine might stall. And after a nuclear war, some guy at a Chinese market deciding to eat an exotic animal. There are plenty of options for a complete breakdown. As Stephen Hawking said, humanity should not keep all its eggs in one basket or on one planet, and he was right. The doomsday clock's hands are moved every year, getting closer to midnight. So why should we take the risk? We insure our homes, cars, and even phones, so why not insure all of civilization? Secondly, space is not just a backup airfield. It's an endless source of resources, technologies, and discoveries. About Saturn's moon, you can make such a joke, and it would be absolutely fair. If you run out of gas on Earth, you're stuck in traffic. But if you're on Titan, you just open the window and scoop it up. Jokes aside, imagine methane instead of oil. Refueling spacecraft directly from a lake. A nitrogen atmosphere is perfect for growing plants in hydroponics. Ice is a source of water and oxygen. So colonizing other planets is not escaping Earth, it's expanding the boundaries of humanity. Thirdly, let's face the truth. People are simply curious. We couldn't stay put when discovering new continents. We climbed Everest because it was there. We went to the moon because it's there. As the legendary scientist Carl Sagan said, somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. And Titan is the perfect candidate. Who would refuse to watch a sunset over a methane sea? Or take a ride on an airship over icy dunes? And perhaps our great-grandchildren will laugh, remembering that their ancestors were afraid of minus 180 degrees. But can you walk on Titan? For many years, Titan remained a mystery to scientists. Until in 2005, the Huygens probe made a historic landing. It was the first landing in the outer solar system in history. And what was discovered? Titan turned out to be surprisingly similar to Earth, only in a cryogenic version. There are seas and rivers here, it rains and even snows. But instead of water, it's methane and ethane flowing on the surface. In terms of conditions for colonization, Titan is one of the most hospitable worlds beyond Earth. It's no surprise that scientists are seriously considering it as the ideal place for humanity's first extraterrestrial colony. There are several reasons for this. First, radiation. The Moon and Mars, these modest neighbors of Earth, are traditionally considered the best candidates for relocation. However, the radiation there would roast you faster than a barbecue on coals. But on Titan, you're welcome. Its atmosphere is much denser than that of any other solid surface body in the solar system, except for Venus. The atmosphere and magnetic field are extremely effective when it comes to protecting the surface from deadly radiation exposure. While Martian colonists will be huddling in underground burrows like space moles, on Titan you can calmly stroll on the surface. If, of course, you enjoy walks at minus 180 degrees and in a heated spacesuit. But can you take a deep breath? Let's move on. Titan is a true record holder in the solar system for nitrogen content in its atmosphere. If there were a cosmic Olympics for the atmosphere most similar to Earth's, Titan would take the gold with 98% nitrogen compared to our modest 78%. This means that future colonists will only need to tweak the air composition a bit, add oxygen, and preferably remove spices like cyanide and carbon monoxide, which can ruin any celebration. In essence, Titan has already done 98% of the work for us in creating a breathable atmosphere. All that's left is to do the last two, which, on a cosmic scale, is just a trivial matter. And will it be possible to find a glass of water? Titan is literally packed with water. However, mostly in the form of ice, which here is harder than granite. At temperatures twice as low as the most extreme cold on Earth, water on the surface behaves modestly. It remains in permafrost. But the main surprise is hidden deeper. Scientists suspect the existence of an entire subsurface ocean of salty water. Even if this subglacial bar turns out to be closed, Titan can still boast enormous reserves of water ice. Its outer shell is almost entirely made up of this valuable resource, which, fortunately, is relatively easy to extract. And in 2010, NASA delighted us with news of possible ice volcanoes. Although a year later, fellow scientists slightly dampened this enthusiasm by criticizing the discovery. Can you swim? On Titan, you could do without bulky spacesuits. And that's already a big plus. While most planets and moons in the solar system greet visitors with either a complete lack of atmosphere or so much of it that you can't breathe. Mars, for example, has pressure weaker than in a laboratory vacuum. Titan offers more comfortable conditions. However, with a small caveat. The pressure here is 1.5 times higher than Earth's, roughly like being 5 meters underwater. Of course, Earth's pressure would be ideal, but the current conditions are not catastrophic. It's like living in a slightly overinflated tire. Unusual, but possible. The main thing is not to forget that the local air consists of nitrogen with a mix of methane, so a breathing apparatus will still be needed. But you can save on the counter-pressure of the spacesuit. Here, it's needed more like a warm jacket than a sealed capsule. Will there be a McDonald's or KFC? Titan? It's a true paradise for space agronomists. Its atmosphere is so rich in nitrogen that it could fertilize all the gardens in the solar system. Yes, on its own. The moon isn't the most hospitable place, with temperatures below -180. Not the best weather for a picnic, but it's perfect for creating a fully autonomous colony. Especially considering that it's a whole 1.2 billion kilometers from Earth. You can't just run back for forgotten seeds. The local natural resources like nitrogen, methane, and ammonia will allow for growing vegetables without the need to reuse organic waste, like the hero of The Martian did. Although, to be honest, even on Titan, a fresh tomato from a hydroponic farm would taste better than potatoes fertilized using Martian technology. And is it possible to fly? If you've dreamed of flying like a bird, welcome to Titan. Here, it's easier than anywhere else in the solar system. Thanks to gravity being only 14% of Earth's and the dense atmosphere, air travel. Here is the most logical choice. Imagine, you take a good run-up, and there you are, gliding over methane lakes, admiring the orange sunsets. And for such a flight, you don't even need complex devices, just a suit with wings like Icarus, only without the tragic ending. Of course, long-term living in low-gravity conditions might present surprises for our bodies, but for flying, these conditions are just perfect. On Titan, flying is easier than walking. The dense atmosphere will reliably keep you in the air, and the weak gravity won't pull you back to the surface. The main thing is not to forget that the local air is unsuitable for breathing, so it's better to complement a wingsuit with an oxygen mask. Will it be possible to build your own house? Titan is a real construction hypermarket for future colonists. Its methane seas are an inexhaustible source of building materials for the future. Imagine, instead of cutting down forests or mining or like on Earth, you simply scoop liquid hydrocarbons from the nearest lake and turn them into super strong polymers. It's like Lego for adults, only on a cosmic scale. And the best part is, you can build right on the surface. Unlike our Martian colleagues, who will have to dig bunkers like moles, Titan settlers will be able to enjoy views of orange sunsets from the windows of their polymer homes. Because let me remind you, the dense atmosphere and Saturn's magnetic field act as a natural anti-radiation shield. Although, let's be honest, the view from the window will still be nothing special. A continuous hydrocarbon haze and temperatures below -180. But on the other hand, you can print your house from local materials instead of bringing bricks from Earth. Mars versus Titan. When we talk about life on other planets, we primarily think of Mars. And indeed, if planet colonization were a beauty contest, Mars would have taken all the prizes long ago. Its rusty landscapes, though barren, at least resemble Earth's deserts. Titan, on the other hand, greets colonists with an orange methane haze and temperatures akin to a giant cosmic freezer. But appearances can be deceiving. When it comes to practical survival issues, Saturn's moon gives Mars a run for its money in many aspects. After all, the red planet is primarily a radiation wasteland with a thin atmosphere, where settlers would have to live in underground bunkers, whereas on Titan, you can safely build houses on the surface. The transportation issue is also resolved in favor of Titan. On Mars, traveling means that a dusty rides and rovers across a lifeless desert or costly rocket launches in a thin atmosphere. On Titan, however, thanks to the low gravity and dense atmosphere, we will be able to glide using the simplest flying devices. Martian colonists could only dream of such feats. Their lot is heavy spacesuits and slow journeys across the rocky surface. The resource base is another advantage of Titan. Mars can only offer meager reserves of water ice and rusty soil, which still needs to be somehow converted into materials suitable for construction. Titan, on the other hand, is literally awash in hydrocarbons. Their seas contain more energy than all of Earth's oil fields combined. Yes, and the situation with the air is more interesting. If on Mars the atmosphere is a mere 1% of Earth's pressure than on Titan, it is 1.5 times denser than ours, which opens up unique opportunities for creating closed ecosystems. However, the main advantage of Titan is its self-sufficiency. A colony on Mars will always be on a short leash from Earth, dependent on regular supplies. Titan, however, thanks to its hydrocarbon seas and nitrogen atmosphere, can become a truly autonomous world. Yes, it takes 7 times longer to get there than to Mars. And the climate there is not for the faint-hearted. But if humanity truly wants not just to land on another planet, but to create a new home among the stars, then Titan is the choice. It's the choice of the brave, those who are ready to trade the relative comfort of Mars for the limitless possibilities of this strange, yet generous world. When is the next flight to Titan? The first expeditions to Saturn's satellite will resemble polar wintering, only 1,000 times more extreme. Imagine compact domes made of ultra-strong polymers, grown directly from local hydrocarbons, where colonists in insulated spacesuits will study the orange methane sunrises. In the mornings, checking the hydroponic farms where genetically modified crops grow under artificial light. During the day, collecting ice and hydrocarbon samples using airships, because flying here is easier than walking. And in the evening, yes, mandatory fitness. In low-gravity conditions, muscles atrophy faster than you can say. Methane rain. The coming decades will be crucial for the Titan program. Already in 2037, NASA will send the Dragonfly mission, an unmanned drone helicopter that will explore the hydrocarbon dunes, in search of the best locations for future bases. By 2050, the first automated factories for producing fuel from local resources may follow. And by 2080, a manned expedition will lay the foundation for the first settlement. However, at first, living there will be like living in a giant thermos, with a closed-air cycle and the constant fear that some icy volcano might decide to unexpectedly awaken. While Titan is preparing to become a new home for humanity, its neighbor Enceladus quietly reminds us of its presence. This tiny icy moon, spewing fountains of salty water into space, is a dark horse in the race for extraterrestrial life. While on Titan we are searching for alternative biochemistry, Enceladus offers a more familiar option. A liquid ocean beneath the icy crust, heated by Saturn's tidal forces. Just imagine, while some colonists will be exploring the hydrocarbon seas of Titan, others might already be drilling through Enceladus's ice in search of extremophile microbes. 2 worlds, 2 approaches to the eternal question of whether we are alone in the universe. But let's return to Titan. By the end of the century, there might not just be a scientific station here, but a full-fledged colony with families, children, and their own traditions. A generation for whom the orange sky is not science fiction, but an ordinary view from the window. Their homes, printed from local polymers, will withstand record-low temperatures. Farms, illuminated by artificial sunlight, will yield crops even in the eternal frost. And their children might become the first people with a special Titan physique, adapted to the weak gravity. It will be a strange and dangerous, but incredibly promising world. A kind of ark for humanity at the borders of the inner solar system. And while Martian settlers will be nostalgic for Earth's green forests, the people of Titan will create their own unique culture. A culture of people who chose the harsh but generous reality of the Saturnian system over the easier conditions of Mars. Because if Mars is humanity's vacation home in space, then Titan is already a true new home. So, should humanity travel 1.5 billion kilometers to colonize this frozen, yet surprisingly generous world? The answer is clear. Yes. Titanium. It's not just a backup of Earth in case of a global catastrophe. It's a testing ground for developing future technologies, a laboratory for studying alternative forms of life, and possibly a new stage in the evolution of humanity. Yes, the first colonists will face incredible challenges: eternal cold, a toxic atmosphere, though there's plenty of that on Earth too, and psychological isolation. But didn't our ancestors, who explored new continents, face similar challenges? This orange world with its methane rivers and icy deserts could become that very giant leap Armstrong dreamed of when he stepped onto the moon. Here, under the dense nitrogen blanket and the protection of Saturn's magnetosphere, humanity has a chance to create a truly autonomous civilization, independent of the whims of Earth's politics and economy. As Konstantin Tsiolkovsky once said, Earth is the cradle of humanity, but one cannot remain in the cradle forever. Titan could become our first true step into adult cosmic life. Is it worth fearing the cold and the long journey? If the future of the entire species is at stake, all that's left is to take the first step. And who knows, maybe it will be your grandchildren telling children stories about the distant blue planet that their ancestors once called home. That's all for today. If you enjoyed pondering with me about Titan and the future of humanity, give a like and subscribe to the channel.